Lady Penelope Ormskirk. Lady Emily Dalrymple.
Into thin air, you say, my lord?
Precisely. At the very moment of being presented at court. It was nothing less than an affront to their majesties.
But is it not possible that the Lady Emily went to...
Certainly not. Well-bred girl, one of the most auspicious moments of her life, she'd rather die.
Otherwise, contempt of court, what? You quite see your point, sir.
I wonder if you do, sir. 3 young ladies have mysteriously disappeared. Norman blood, every one of them, best families in the land. I shudder to think what may have happened. We must find the criminals without delay and bring them to prosecution.
With respect, my lord, we can hardly prosecute until we know for certain that an offence has been committed. After all, people disappear for the most...
These are not just people. Damn it, sir, it could be a Bolshevik plot.
I hesitate to interrupt you when you are browsing through the pages of the Tatler, Miss Letchworth, but would you kindly get me the other ledger?
Ledger, Mr. Reader?
On the shelf in your office, Miss Letchworth.
Oh, sorry. Yes, of course.
And do leave the magazine. I haven't seen the latest issue.
Yes.
Thank you. Lady Sellers enjoying a jest with Major Terence Forsyth Smythe at the Northumbrian Hunt Ball. Oh, silly girl.
I am surprised that you're interested in society affairs, Mr. Reader.
Not in Lady Sellers' social life, I assure you. But she's been indiscreetly photographed wearing the Baroli diamonds, as every jewel thief in the country will have noticed.
Do jewel thieves also read the Tatler?
As avidly as stockbrokers read the financial papers.
Did you know that Lady Sellers and Major Fawcett Smythe are both keen collectors of antique horse brasses? It could mean marriage, you know.
Do you make a practice of collecting that kind of information, Miss Letchworth?
Yes. I'm fascinated by everything to do with the aristocracy.
It seems a rather trivial occupation for such an intelligent young woman. I see that you don't agree, Miss Letchworth.
Scotland Yard are working full out on the case, and they will coordinate their investigations with your own. Got to get to the bottom of this, Tuvey. No stone unturned.
Oh, naturally, my lord, we shall do everything in our power, but I am somewhat mystified by
My dear
this.
man, everybody's mystified. That is why the case must be given absolute priority. It's a royal command.
We will do our duty.
Very good, then. Good day.
My loyal respects to
Good day to you, sir.
And to you, sir. Confounded Frankie. Reader! Bolsheviks in the palace. Poppycock. Reader! Peerage. Peerage. Peerage.
Very ingenious, I must say, sir. But I venture to say that Mr. Petrosky has shot his bolt.
Yeah?
Petrosky, sir, you asked me to look into his share dealings.
Oh, the financier. Put those wretched things down, reader.
Thank you, sir. Well, at a conservative estimate, our friends seem successfully to have defrauded his investors of several £1 million sterling. I think we have enough evidence to prosecute.
Later, reader, later.
The widows and orphans, sir, the retired elderly gentlefolk.
It's the young gentlefolk that concern me at the moment. Tell me, reader, what do you know about the aristocracy?
Crime is no respecter of class, citizen. Some spectacular malefactors have been ex-public school boys. Harrow, I believe, has rather interesting record in this respect. Why do you ask, sir?
Either a colossal practical joke has been pulled, or something very sinister is afoot. And unless we get to the bottom of it quickly, someone may have to go into sudden and premature retirement.
Miss Letchworth.
Yes, Mr. Reader.
I should like Debrett and a copy of the Almanac de Gotha.
I'll fetch them from the library at once, sir.
And if I can draw on your admirable knowledge of the aristocracy.
Certainly, sir. But I thought you said that...
Yes, Miss Letchworth, I know. It's a somewhat hasty judgment. In fact, your interest in the social activities of the nobility may prove to be quite useful.
I should be thrilled to be of some help, Mr. Reader.
I can trust you to observe the strictest discretion.
Oh, I shan't tell a living soul. You may depend upon it, Mr. Reader.
Thank you very much, Miss Letchworth. Now, have you ever heard of a young lady named Cynthia Bardolph Douglas?
Lady Cynthia. She came out last year.
Not for very long, unfortunately. Last seen at Cape Medic's nightclub with a party of friends. Then there is a rather odd case of the Honourable Susan Randall.
Loves Pomeranian dogs, fast motor cars, and the foxtrot.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, everybody does it, Mr. Reader. Well, nearly everybody. Has she also disappeared?
From a luxury yacht in the harbour at Portofino.
How awful. Did she drown?
I rather doubt it. And now there is Lady Emily Dalrymple, from the palace of all places. Quite an epidemic. Have you any theories, Miss Letchworth?
Oh, I should think it's love, Mr. Reader. Quite a few society girls elope, you know.
Love?
Not in Lady Cynthia's case, of course.
How's that?
She was already engaged.
You're a damn fool, Clive. Always were. Oh, I say, so that's a bit thick, allowing Cynthia to run off like that. Where the devil did she go?
I wish I knew, Father. I mean, it's jolly inconsiderate of her.
Never could look after your property. Remember that filly I gave you on your 16th birthday? Lamed her in a week. And what about your debts?
Well, I do have my army pay.
Army pay scarcely cover your tailor's bills.
Well, my tailor doesn't even give me credit. Well, not anymore. So right for Gervais, he's the heir. Nobody gives a damn for the youngest son of the 37th Earl of Colebrook.
Yeah, well, I have to talk to your mother about that.
Mater, Pater?
Some damn fool notion she had that if she drank rose hip syrup, you'd be a female. Didn't work out, though, did it? Anyway, look at your Uncle Charles. He was the youngest of 9. Not much he could do about that, poor fellow. But at least he became a bishop.
I wouldn't make a good churchman, Pater. I mean, it's awfully hard for me to resist temptation.
Well, I dare say there's something wise I ought to be able to say about that. Can't think of a damn thing, though. Well, if the church is out, what else is there? Empire's not what it was, not much future there. I don't know how long the army will put up with you. No, you've got to face it, young fella. Cynthia is your lifeline. Great whiskey distilling family, the Bardolph Douglases. And she'll inherit. Got to find the girl.
If only we could find one of them or establish a single motive.
It stands to reason nobody can disappear into thin air, Pine.
In our records department at Scotland Yard, we have a whole section on people who have.
What puzzles me most is the case of Lady Emily Dalrymple. How can anybody get in or out of the palace without being detected?
We've questioned everybody. Court officials, servants, officers of the guard. No one saw her leave.
Naturally, Chief Inspector.
What do you mean?
One tends only to notice the unusual, sir. If Lady Emily being carried out screaming, her departure might have attracted some attention. The fact that it did not indicates that she left in a perfectly normal manner.
Ah, we may have something there, Rita. The gal could have been smuggled out through the servants' quarters disguised as a royal housemaid.
Well, no, Sir Jason. Look at it this way. The missing young ladies all have certain things in common. They're all aged between 18 and 23, all are listed in Debrett, all belong to the same exclusive social set, go to the same parties, share the same escorts.
We know all that. What point are you making?
May I ask what regiment was on palace duty on the day in question?
Household cavalry.
Officered largely by the sons of dukes, earls, and other peers of the realm. Vulgarly known as Deb's Delights, I believe.
Rita, are you suggesting that the Lady Emily was kidnapped by the household cavalry?
I'm suggesting she left, willingly or unwillingly, in the company of a young officer with whom she was socially acquainted.
I'm not convinced, Rita, but any theory's better than none. We'll look into it right away.
Well, I have already made some tentative inquiries, Chief Inspector. Here is a provisional list of 5 men.
Household cavalry officers?
Only 2. But on every social occasion that a young lady has disappeared, these 5 were included among the guests.
Yeah. Sir Oliver Tisley. Oh, Buffer Tisley's boy. The Honourable Cedric Fawcett Taylor, Lord Brindlehurst, Captain, the Honourable Clive Fitzcorrent, Count Orlando Vigaretti. By Jove, he must be a foreigner.
An Italian gentleman. The title is honorific, a papal count.
You'll be seeing him, of course.
With your permission, sir, I intend to see all of them.
Buffer always had trouble with that boy.
If you would rather, sir.
Huh? Oh, want me to deal with the young puppy myself, huh?
Common ground, sir? Night to night?
Dashed odd of them, I must say, popping off one after the other. But not to worry.
Oliver!
Are you serious, Sir Oliver? Does it not distress you to lose your friends like that?
Oh, frightfully, of course. But if one bird flies off, there's always half a dozen others. There's a shortage of chaps, you know, the trenches and all that.
Cream of British manhood.
I say, may I have another?
You were on board the yacht when the Honourable Susan Randall disappeared.
Confidentially, old boy, I wasn't a bit surprised.
May we know why?
Little Susie was an absolute tizzy over Orlando.
Count Vigaretti.
He was flirting with Emily. They had a tiff about it up on deck. Orlando came down to the bar, and the next thing we knew, she'd gone.
Am I correct in assuming that Emily is Lady Emily Dalrymple?
Which one's that? Huh?
The palace.
Yes, I expect she got into a huff with Orlando too. Impetuous cove, lots of Latin temperament, always falling for a new gal.
I see. Can you now tell me about the night that Lady Cynthia Bardolph Douglas vanished at Kate Merrick's club?
That was an extraordinary thing. There was this Chinese magician.
Thank you very much. For my first illusion, I need the assistance of a volunteer. Would any pretty lady care to volunteer?
Yeah, my darling, what about you?
I feel such a fool!
Go on, Billy.
Oh, he's only going to saw you in half, my precious. We want to see if you're as charming inside as you are on the outside.
I will transport you to the Temple of Immortal Bliss in far-off Cathay. Please come.
Oh, do, Cynthia. It'll be such fun. Well, all right. Ta-ta, everybody. See you in the next one.
Bravo!
Deeply honored, pretty lady. Your most unworthy servant will now place you in the magic box. Fold your arms so. And now, please step inside. Honored ladies and gentlemen, if you will please maintain absolute silence, I will weave a sorcerer's spell. It was handed down to me by my ancient ancestors. And now you will be asking, where is the pretty lady? Has she gone forever into the garden of delight? Alas, no, I must bring her back. But she will be changed. She will have seen with her own eyes the colors of paradise, and she will be sad to see them no more. Dai bong yao sung, dai bong sao.
And what would you like me to serve, Mr. Reader?
Just some tea. That would do splendidly.
Ach, you can hardly offer an Earl's son nothing but a cup of tea, even from the good silver teapot.
My dear Mrs. Houchin, I cannot understand this veneration of the descendant of a bloodthirsty 11th century brigand who enriched himself by seizing other people's property.
Fancy that. Just like the old Scottish gentry.
Rufus de Cormoran, ancestor of the Colebrookes, was known, if you will forgive the vulgarity, as the Red Bastard.
Mr. Reader.
A cormoran, in old French, was a gluttonous bird, a sea crow. From all accounts, the name was well earned.
It's wonderful how you keep all that knowledge in your head, Mr. Reader.
There is the young man himself, I imagine.
Oh. Captain, the Honourable Clive Fitzcormorant.
How do you do, Captain Fitzcormorant?
How do you do? If you gentlemen will excuse me, I'll just go and prepare the...
tea, Mrs. Houchin. Won't you sit down?
Thanks. Jolly good. Awfully nice place you have here.
And it suits my simple requirements?
Yes. I expect you're wondering why I've asked to see you privately, sir.
It happens to be rather convenient, Captain. You see, you were the next on my list.
Oh. Well, actually, I do have a small confession to make.
Indeed, sir.
Mr. Reader, I'm frightfully worried in case my governor should get to hear about this. The old man's just stickler, honour of the family and all that. Well, he doesn't think much of me. Never did.
I do understand, Captain Fitzcormorant. Please go on.
Well, Cynthia and me, Lady Bardolph Douglas. Well, to cut a long story short, she wouldn't have me. Wanted to break it off.
When did this occur?
It came to a head at the nightclub. She threatened to make an announcement in front of everybody there.
Oh, must have been very distressing.
Well, I said I'd murder her if she did.
Did you?
Oh, good Lord, you don't really think I would. I mean, I'm frightfully fond of Cynthia, whatever she's done.
I take it, sir, another man was involved.
Yes.
May I ask who?
Orlando Vigoretti. Who else?
Do you suppose the Count has something to do with the disappearance of Lady Cynthia?
Well, your guess is as good as mine, Mr. Reader. She didn't mention it in her letter.
You have a letter from her?
Yes, it came yesterday. Oh, yes, come. I'm sure I brought it. Oh, yes, here we are.
May I see it?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Dear Clivey, I've gone away for a while. Don't try to find me. We're not playing one of your nursery games of hide and seek. Honestly, Clive, I'm tired of being engaged to a jealous little boy. I'm sure you'll find some other playmate, Cynthia.
I don't know how she could be so beastly.
Have you got the envelope?
Yes.
Posted on board the SS Singapore, the Orient line.
I know you wouldn't mind, Mr. Reader, but I thought Captain Fitzcormorant might fancy a bite to eat.
Oh, thanks awfully, ma'am, but actually I do have to rush. Charity ball.
Oh, thank heaven you've come, Mr. Reader. Sir Jason's been shouting for you. He's got Chief Inspector Pine with him.
Thank you, Miss Letchworth.
Well, Reader, what have you got to say about it?
Tell me the worst, Sir Jason. I am braced for the shock.
Another one's gone. The Marquis of Kyle's daughter, the Lady Catherine.
Where did this occur, sir?
Claridge's during a charity ball.
She was escorted either by Captain Fitzcormorant or Count Orlando Vigoretti?
Vigoretti, actually, so you did know about it.
As a regular reader of the Tatler, Chief Inspector, I know all the young lady's friends.
We've got a full list of people at the ball, guests at the hotel, mixed bag, Hollywood actors, South American millionaires, French aristocrats, even a Chinese mandarin and his 6 wives.
How many wives did you say?
Well, 6, why?
Have you seen the afternoon paper, sir? Here is a picture of the person leaving Claridge's with his entourage. Would you care to count the number of wives?
By God, 7. You think the Mandarin's 7th wife is the missing Lady Catherine?
I fear that is probable. What is less probable is that the Mandarin is in fact a Mandarin. They no longer exist outside the pages of lurid fiction. I understand they've been replaced by Chinese warlords.
Now, come on, Reader, you're not telling us the girl's been kidnapped by a warlord?
Indeed not, Chief Inspector. More likely a Chinese cook or a seaman or a laundryman, one of the denizens of Limehouse. I'm afraid, gentlemen, that we may have stumbled on a fiendish white slave traffic in the finest flower of English maidenhood.
Good heavens.
But first of all, we must ask ourselves this question. Who or what is this Count Orlando Vigoretti?
Orlando, don't you like hunting?
Alas, my darling, I do not.
Why, it's spiffing fun.
I'm so jealous of your horse. The way you stroke his long, sleek neck. I have a better sport to suggest, my lovely Helen.
You're such a wicked flirt.
Miss Letchworth, what can your sociological observations about society tell us about Lady Helen Angleside?
No, she's one of the Sussex Anglesides, second cousin of the Duke of Ipswich, and a collateral descendant of Mary Queen of Scots.
Oh, splendid. Any other relevant facts?
Well, her seat's marvellous. She rides with the Corn and Bister. Mr. Pine is here, sir.
Ah, Chief Inspector, do come in.
Reader, your hunch was right. I've just got the information through from Rome. Vigoretti is a phony. Real name, Orlando Boccaccio, a Neapolitan. Father runs a bar in the red light district of Naples.
Most interesting, Chief Inspector. Thank you.
I'll send a couple of men round to his place. Bring him in.
Please, not quite yet, Mr. Pine. Besides, I think perhaps Count Orlando has gone hunting.
Shan't be long, Orlando. Miss me?
I shall count the seconds until you come back safely to me, my love.
I have an uneasy premonition, Mr. Pine. We should have caught an earlier train.
What do you mean, disappeared?
I've been hunting 40 years, and I've never seen anything like it, sir. There she was, leading the field. Then with a last cry of tally-ho, she galloped over the dip and whoosh, disappeared like the steam of a kettle. Funny thing is, she was nowhere near the fox.
She was probably nearer than you think. And her horse?
Oh, thank heaven he's all right. Finest bloodstock in the country. Tragic if anything had happened to him.
Where's Vigoretti? I suppose he's gone.
Not very far, Mr. Pine. Are you busy, Count Orlando?
We were admiring the architecture. 17th century. I love old barns.
Not exclusively, I see. Now, there are one or two questions.
This is intolerable. intolerable, Reader. My most trusted assistant, and you've let me down. I will not listen to feeble excuses. What am I to say to the Home Secretary? The aristocracy is in a panic. They're hiring private bodyguards.
Law enforcement is subject to delays, as we all know, Sir Jason.
What about this fellow Orlando Vigoretti, or Boccaccio, whatever his wretched name is? Why don't you instruct the police to arrest him?
For a plebeian to call himself a count is not in itself a criminal offence, Sir Jason.
But you know damn well he's mixed up in the affair.
Our Neapolitan friend is not alone. I have reason to believe he is merely an instrument in the hands of a far more depraved criminal.
It can't go on like this. Everywhere I must look behind my shoulder. I'm sick with my stomach from nerves. Please, it's my turn to disappear out of the country. What do you mean? There's nothing to be afraid of. This terrible little man Reader. Harmless? He has the cold eye of a mass murderer. You will attend to him. All right. Good.
That's a picture. It's very kind of you to agree to accompany me, Miss Bevan. I only hope the evening's entertainment won't be too bizarre for your tastes.
Oh, no, on the contrary, I'm very excited about it. I'm rather surprised that you should want to come to a place like this, Mr. Reader. It doesn't seem quite your cup of tea.
Well, all my life I've been unable to resist curiosity. As you have so often heard me say, I have a criminal mind. And to a man of my temperament, there is nothing more intriguing than a mysterious invitation.
Mr. J.G. Reader is invited to an intriguing display of Oriental conjuring.
Is there not a single lady who will volunteer for this tremendous, absolutely unique illusion?
Do you think I could?
No, I do not.
Oh, well, after all, it's only a conjuring trick.
Please, just one moment. Oh, I beg your pardon. May I ask if your Temple of Immortal Bliss is exclusively reserved for persons of the feminine gender?
Not exclusively, honored sir. Beauty's companion, wisdom, can also be accommodated. Do you wish to volunteer?
I would not forego the experience for anything.
Fold your arms, so. Now, please, step inside the magic box. Honored ladies and gentlemen, if you will please maintain absolute silence, I will call up the spirits of my ancestors, the court magicians to the Ming emperors of ancient China. Where is the honored gentleman? Has he gone forever into the garden of delight? Alas, no, I must bring him back.
What happened then, Miss Bellman?
Oh, the Chinaman opened the magic box and it was empty.
And Mr. Reader had gone?
Yes. But then suddenly the whole place was plunged into darkness, and then when the lights came on again, the magician himself had disappeared.
Can't understand how Reader could have allowed himself to fall into such an obvious trap.
I'm sure it was only with the very best of intentions.
Oh, no doubt.
I've brought some ham sandwiches and tea. And some of Mr. Reader's favourite seedy cake.
You're very kind, Mrs. Houchin.
I would do the same for anybody. Oh, dear. I was so worried I forgot the milk. He always liked the milk to go in first.
No need to look on the black side yet, Mrs. Houchin.
I cannot help it. Poor Mr. Reader. A kinder, gentler, more understanding gentleman you couldn't wish to meet. And him without his overcoat on such a frosty night.
Come and sit over here.
Oh, thank you.
Mrs. Houchin's taking it very badly.
Oh, well, she is utterly devoted to Mr. Reader's welfare.
I can see why he remained a bachelor. Do you happen to know by any chance of any next of kin?
I hope you don't think...
Yes. I see. Now, what about Limehouse? Put some more men on the job. Damn it, I know it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Just keep searching. Frankly, ladies, I fear the worst.
Mr. Reader!
Oh, you're soaked to the skin.
Good evening, everybody. Or should I say good morning? I fear my watch is somewhat waterlogged.
You poor man. I'll get you a hot bath and some dry clothes immediately.
I should be all right, thank you, Mrs. Houchin, but would you be kind enough to pour me a glass of brandy?
I'm sure Mr. Pine will do that. I'll run your hot bath for you. The brandy's on the sideboard, Mr. Pine.
Well, what on earth happened?
Well, I suspect I was drugged and dumped into the Thames in a laundry basket.
In a laundry basket?
My assailants must have miscalculated the strength of the drug. The cool water must have shocked me into consciousness. Oh, thank you, Chief Inspector.
I'm glad to see you're still fighting fit. Well, they're waiting for me back in the yard. Must rush off.
Oh.
Good night, Mr. Reader.
No, good night, Mr. Pine.
Good night.
You're to keep this wrapped round you.
Oh, you really shouldn't worry, Mrs. Houchin.
Nonsense. I'm not wanting you going down with pneumonia.
I'm sorry to have spoilt your evening, Miss Bellman.
Oh, Mr. Reader, how can you say that? Oh, why did they try to kill you?
I suppose they were finding my investigations a little annoying. I will give anything, Miss Bellman, to expose these degenerates who traffic in young females if I can only catch them red-handed.
I have an idea.
Pray, what is that?
Will you let me help you?
In what way?
Well, I could act as bait.
Oh, Miss Bellman, I do appreciate your youthful gallantry, but it is quite out of the question.
Why?
Well, because I could not allow it, Miss Bellman.
But I could pretend to have a title.
With or without a title, Miss Bellman, I absolutely forbid it. I have too warm a regard for you to allow you to do anything so dangerous.
But, Mr. Reader...
Say no more. Besides, I think I've discovered a rather interesting clue. I found this in the laundry basket. And if my assumption is correct, this may well be the key to the whole mystery.
Don't move, I'll blow your head off. What the devil do you mean by trespassing on my property?
Have I the honor of addressing the Earl of Coburg?
Don't quibble, man.
I came to see your son, my lord.
In that case, I'll thank you to get off my land.
I beg your pardon.
You can send in your damn bills like any other tradesman. My son may be a useless, incompetent spendthrift, still a gentleman.
You appear to be under a misapprehension.
Huh?
I'm investigating the disappearance of Mr. Fitzcormoran's fiancée.
Good God. Country's going to the dogs, but I never knew we had such weedy policemen. You better come in.
Thank you, my lord.
I think he's somewhere about with that Italian fellow. Hey! Hey! Live! Live!
Yes, Father, what is it? Oh. May I speak to your son alone, sir?
I don't think you'll get much sense out of him. Looks as though he's seen a ghost.
You seem startled. Did my unexpected appearance alarm you?
No, not at all. Only I hope you didn't mention to my governor about me and Cynthia. Breaking it off, I mean.
On that score, you have no need to worry. As a matter of fact, I called to see Count Orlando. His housekeeper told me he was spending a few days here.
You want to see Orlando? Why?
I prefer not to comment at this stage.
Is he mixed up in this?
In what, Captain Fitzcormorant?
You know what I mean. Has he done something to Cynthia?
But, sir, you received a letter from your fiancée. You showed it to me.
Oh. But he could have forced her to write it. My God, if he has hurt her. Has he?
Oh, really, sir, it would be most improper of me to discuss that matter.
I'll kill him.
I don't think you have far to look for your quarry.
Oh, I say, Orlando, it's a bit thick.
I apologize for disturbing you, Signor Boccaccia.
How dare you? I am Count Orlando Vigaretti. No? All right, it is, what do you say, a fair cop? Believe me, I'm very glad. It's been a strain on my nerves.
I'm sure it has. Signor, there is one question I would like to ask you. How is your Chinese?
I beg your pardon. I do not understand. What is it?
The Fragrant Garden of Delight Laundry. Forgive me if my translation is somewhat imperfect. Do you know the place?
I have never heard of it. Never.
Opium. A man came in here a few minutes ago. Do you understand English, madam? A man walked into this building just now. He is not here. Where is he gone, madam?
Good morning, Miss Letchworth. Oh, good morning, Mr. Reader. Sir Jason's already and he seems rather cross.
Yes, I can well imagine that.
Incidentally, this letter arrived for you yesterday while you were at the autopsy.
Oh, would you open it, please? Thank you. Lady Ottiline Prendergast presents her compliments to Mr. Reader and begs leave to inform him that tonight she's attending a ball in aid of distressed gentlefolk at the Duchess of Portside's residence in Park Lane. Who brought this message, Miss Letchworth?
A post office messenger, Mr. Reader.
Very strange.
Reader!
Very strange indeed. Good gracious.
Reader! Well, Reader, I hope you're satisfied.
Moderately, Sir Jason.
What do you mean? You made the department look absolutely ridiculous.
With respect, sir, I consider that somewhat unfair.
The body of a murdered suspect is dumped in your room and you consider my criticism unfair? I suppose your invaluable Mrs. Houchin thought the odd body to be beneath her notice.
She had already retired to bed, sir. Besides...
Chief Inspector Pine is here, sir.
You'll forgive me bursting in, Sir Jason, but it's time we stopped theorising and had some action.
Quite, that will do, Miss... look here, Pine. What do you suggest we do?
Get some men down at that laundry, arrest every Chinaman there. One of them will probably be the murderer.
I must reluctantly disagree, Inspector.
What are you talking about, man? You saw him go into those premises. Next thing he turns up in your room, of all places, with a Chinese dagger in his back.
Which can be obtained in any curio shop.
Who the devil do you think did it, then?
His friend, Captain Fitzcormorant.
You sure of that?
Moderately certain.
What would be his motive? Revenge?
We'll deal with that later, sir. I'll get some men to Colebrook Hall and have him detained right away.
Good man, Pine.
I'm afraid he's not there, sir. And nobody knows where he has gone.
Surely we'll have to find him then.
May I suggest it might be wiser to wait?
I don't think I quite follow you, Reader. A murder has been committed. We can't just ignore it.
We are dealing with a crime far worse than murder, Sir Jason. The transportation of English virgins to the vice dens of the Far East.
My God, Pine is right. Makes one's blood boil.
I prefer to consider the matter more logically. Who was used to lure the victims? Orlando Boccaccio, alias Count Vigoretti. Now he's dead. That means for the time being there'll be no more missing young society ladies.
I'm sure there will be. In fact, I would be most disappointed if there were not.
Disappointed? You've taken leave of your senses?
Not at all, sir. We are dealing with a daring and adroit criminal, but he has one weakness: overconfidence. He is about to go one step too far.
You sure you're not just a tiny bit overconfident yourself?
Yeah. Who? Are you expecting a call from the Duchess of Portside?
How extraordinary. Mr. Reader speaking? I see. And the lady vanished. Thank you, Your Grace. You have been most helpful.
And what, Reader, was that?
The Duchess held a ball last night in aid of distressed gentlefolk. It seems that our old friend, the Chinese magician, generously donated his cabaret performance. And as usual, a young lady volunteered to assist.
And disappeared.
Inevitably. Fortunately, she left a note with the Duchess asking her to contact me in such an eventuality.
What was her name?
Lady Ottiline Prendergast. But I have reason to believe there is no such person. She never existed.
See here, Reader!
Forgive me, sir. I have no time to waste. The life of someone very dear to me is at stake.
Place is surrounded. We're all ready to go.
Sorry, sir, this is private.
I have reason to believe that certain offences have been committed on these premises.
Honorable Mister is making mistake.
It's no use, I know who you are.
Everybody in Limehouse knows Chinese laundryman.
Yes, but not as Captain the Honourable Clive Percival Montmorency Fitzcormorant.
You're a very sharp little chap, Reader. Too clever by half.
It is no use. There are police officers all around the place. As you can see. What have you done to the girls?
I suppose you won't believe me, Reader, but I've never harmed a hair of those girls' heads. It goes against the grain. Besides, they're worth so much more in mint condition. Would you call your bloodhounds off a moment?
Release him.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Reader, oh, thank heaven.
Miss Bellman, you are far too impulsive for my peace of mind.
I knew you would rescue me.
But I fear too late to save the others.
Quite so, Reader. By now, they are on the high seas, bound for China, beyond your jurisdiction.
But not beyond the jurisdiction of the British Navy.
I warn you not to underestimate him.
Your confidence flatters me, Miss Bellman.
I must admit, I thought I had you fooled. How did you guess?
The letter from your fiancée aroused my suspicion, sir. It could not have been posted on board the SS Singapore. She was delayed from sailing for essential repairs, according to the Shipping Gazette. Besides, Captain Fitzcormorant, you really should send your shirts to another laundry. I found this in a pile of dirty linen here with your family crest on the pocket.
Perhaps my father's right. I was doomed to be a failure. I hope you realize, Reader, that I am nothing but a victim of society.
In what way?
The youngest son of a nobleman today has breeding, but no prospects. What else can he do but turn to crime?
Chief Inspector Pine is hoping to bring a further charge within a few days, sir. Boccaccio's murder.
Poor fellow.
Yes, indeed. A nasty end, sir.
No, young Fitzcormorant. That Italian devil obviously led him into crime.
I think not, sir. Fitzcormorant discovered that the Italian was an imposter and blackmailed him into becoming his accomplice. Then when suspicion began to centre on the man...
No, you mean when I told you of my suspicion?
Yes, Sir Jason. I later found his behaviour more and more suspect. All those young ladies.
Ladies' man, Reader. No harm in that.
Exactly what I thought, sir. And then I began to notice that he was using his reputation as a great lover as his alibi each time. And there were so many young ladies. Even Mr. Rudolph Valentine himself would have been sorely tried to compete.
You mean Fitzcormorant was afraid he might give the game away?
Exactly, sir. So he conceived the idea of removing him in such a way as to suggest that he, Fitzcormorant, murdered him merely to avenge the kidnapping of his fiancée.
Then he hoped to slip out of the country and live on the immoral earnings of his unfortunate victims.
Precisely, sir.
Well, it was a devilish scheme.
And do you know what he had the effrontery to suggest, sir?
No idea.
That he was performing a service to the young ladies by rescuing them from the boredom of an effete existence.